So, when Paul Hunter first introduced you to Government Cheese, what instantly stood out to you about the project?
What stood out to me about the project was that he wanted to do something that was really different. And I think for me as a writer, being able to tell different types of stories that are not, that are not something that we've seen before. And I mean that in the sense of like when you write on sitcoms, there are certain stories that kind of are just kind of done in different versions. And so it was really exciting for me to write something really new. And I saw that that's what he wanted to do. And then also we had I grew up in the Bay Area. He had some time in the Bay Area. Our families had similarities. So we really kind of bonded in all of these places.
You've described each episode as a standalone indie film.
Mm-hmm.
What was the biggest challenge in crafting such a unique but cohesive season?
Oh, I don't think it was difficult. I think it was actually more freeing to be able to do that. And as I said, when we were very clear about the story we were telling, so we're very clear about where Hampton started, the things that needed to happen to him, and where he ended up as a character. We kind of had that, once you track that progression for all the characters, then how you tell each increment doesn't matter. We could have, and I think WandaVision does an amazing thing. If you can tell a very cohesive story, crafted differently, with the characters speaking differently, but as long as you stay true to what that story is, it opens you up so you can tell any story you want. And I think that's the beauty of it. And these kind of fun openings we did were so freeing in that we could do things that people were going to find later. And so it brings me joy to know that when they're like, oh, fuck, that's from that. That is all we wanted to do.
The tune walks the line between humor, spirituality, and social drama. How did you and Paul navigate that in the writing process?
I think in the writing process, it was what we wanted to do. So there's no hard jokes. It's a comedy, but nobody ever makes a straight joke. Maybe for the most part, Boki might say something kind of silly. I think each of the characters, because they're so specific and so quirky, there's just humor in them as a whole. So it was just an easy way to walk the line.
Paul comes from music videos, you come from television. How did that creative mix shape the show's DNA?
I think the beauty of that is, Paul comes from music videos. He also does advertising. He always shot things that were really big and kind of, he could get anything he wanted at any time. Kind of money didn't matter, time didn't matter. Whereas coming from the confines of TV, it's like everything matters. It's like, no, don't go on location. Don't go here. Don't do that. It's like you have a little box that you get to play in. And I think sitting down with Paul when we were coming up with stuff, I would say to him, is this shootable? Can we shoot this? And he was like, we can shoot anything. And I was like, that freed me up as a writer of always being worried about what sets do we have, and to hear we can shoot anything, anything's possible and do it well, opened me into this kind of, we can do anything, this impossibility. And then all the characters are trying to do something impossible, trying to do something that doesn't make sense to everybody, but truly feeds their character. And so this sense of impossible is possible, I think, runs throughout the core of this show, the writing, the directing, the acting, and the storytelling.
And last question, if you had to pitch Government Cheese in one word, what would it be?
Listen, I wrote the sentence. It's a surrealist family comedy in the San Fernando Valley in the 1960s. I think Government Cheese is a very, very simple story about humanity, but told through independent filmmaking.